a private rocket company valued at tens of billions. No traditional retail customers, no subscription model. So how do you turn rockets into a repeatable billion-dollar business? Today, we pull apart SpaceX's playbook and the uncomfortable truth investors ignore. Hi, I'm from EconomiQ. We create daily explainers on global economics, policy shifts, market-moving events, and the rise and fall of major companies and technologies shaping the world. Well, we'll answer a simple question. Can you really make billions without a visible consumer base? We'll run through 3 business models SpaceX uses, the risks hidden behind the headlines, and the single metric that matters for long-term viability. First model, launch services. SpaceX sells rockets and launch capacity to governments and commercial satellite operators. Each launch brings millions in revenue. It's a classic business-to-business engineering contract, high margin on scale, but lumpy and cyclical. The problem? Launches are one-off. You need continuous demand or backlog to keep factories busy and amortize fixed costs. That's possible, but not guaranteed. Second model, government contracts. Defense and NASA pay premium rates for reliability and security. These contracts can stabilize revenue and transfer risk. But they come with scrutiny, cost-plus pricing, and dependency on political budgets. Reliance on government money brings stability until political priorities shift. That's a structural risk for any company without a broad consumer base. Third model, services, specifically Starlink. This is how SpaceX builds a consumer revenue stream. Broadband for underserved markets. Enterprise links, maritime, and government communications. That's recurring revenue and the closest thing to a consumer base SpaceX has. Starlink turns hardware into recurring cash. But it's capital-intensive. Satellites, ground stations, global regulatory approvals, and customer acquisition. So SpaceX mixes B2B launches, steady government dollars, and growing consumer services. The key gap investors finance is the capital expenditure. Rockets, R&D, satellites, factories. High valuations buy time, but only if the cash burn translates into real cash flow later. If those service revenues don't scale, the valuation is propped up by funding rounds, not sustainable cash flow. 3 brutal risks to remember. 1. Concentration risk. Too much revenue is tied to a handful of contracts. 2. Capital intensity. You need billions to scale the constellation and factories. And 3. Regulatory risk. Spectrum, international approvals, and export rules can throttle growth. If you want to know whether SpaceX is building a real consumer moat, watch these metrics. Monthly Starlink average revenue per user. Churn, utilization and backlog for launches, and the gross margin on launches versus service margins. Those metrics reveal whether one-off sales are turning into steady cash. High valuation signals belief in future growth, not current economics. You can be worth billions on paper while still needing more capital. That's normal for deep tech companies, but dangerous if growth stalls. Success is when recurring service revenue from Starlink and Enterprise covers fixed costs and funds launches without external dilution. That's when the business becomes resilient, not just impressive on a slide deck. So, can you make billions without a visible customer base? Yes, but only if you convert one-off, lumpy revenue into recurring scaled services that cover expensive infrastructure. Tell me which risk worries you most, CapEx, regulation, or backlog. Comment CapEx, rules, or demand. Subscribe for daily explainers on the real economics behind tech.